Hello all, welcome to the first video on first value and last value window functions in SQL. So in this particular video, we'll discuss about a question which says that for each account number, I need to show the first transaction and the last transaction. So for that, I've created a table called transactions, which is from interview schema. Now, if I just execute the select query, you can find that we have transaction ID column, account number column, and transaction date column. And we have two account numbers, A101 and A102. Okay. Now, if you see for account number A101, the starting date was 15th of March. And for 15th of March, we have two transactions. One is T01 and T02. Now, which particular transaction should be considered as the first transaction? Will T01 will be considered the first transaction or T02 be considered as the first transaction? Because the starting date has two records or two transactions. So in that case, what we need to do is we need to check which is the first record that has been inserted in the table. So the first record that has been inserted in the table is T01. So for A101, the first transaction will be T01. Similarly, if you see for A102, the last transaction or the last transaction date that you see is 18th of March, and we have two transactions over here. So again, the question is, should we consider T07 as the last transaction or T08 as the last transaction? Now again, we have to see how the data is inserted. So T08 is the last record that has been inserted as compared to T07. So the last transaction for A102 will be T08, but not T07. So in this way, we should consider the output. Now let's get started. So in the output, I need to show the account number column, the first transaction ID column, and the last transaction ID column. So I'll use select query because I need to fetch the data or extract the data. Select account number, comma. Then I'll be using the window function called first underscore value to show the first transaction. And inside that, I will be passing transaction ID because I need to show the first transaction ID value. Now, if I want to show the first transaction date value, then I need to pass transaction date column inside first underscore value. So whatever column you pass inside first underscore value, the data for that particular column will be shown. So here I wanted to show the transaction ID. So I have passed transaction ID. Then over partition by account number, because I need to show for each account number, and account number is the upper hierarchy as compared to transaction ID. Then order by transaction ID, and that has to be arranged in ascending order. So that the first record that we'll be having, that will be your T01. Then I will give the name as first underscore transaction. So the first record for account number A101 will be T01, and the first record for account number A102 will be T05 if I arrange in ascending order. Then comma. Okay. I will add one more argument over here inside over, that is range between unbounded preceding and unbounded following. Now that means unbounded preceding is your first row and unbounded following is your last row. So I need to consider the range between the first row and the last row to find out first underscore value. Now to find out the last underscore value or the last transaction ID, I need to use last underscore value window function. And here also I will pass transaction ID because I need to show the transaction ID, which is the last transaction. Then same thing over, the rest everything will be same. So I'll just copy from here because no changes. Only the function name will be different. And here I will mention it as last underscore transaction. Then from interview dot transactions. As you can see, for account number A101, the first transaction is showing as T01 and the last transaction is showing as T04. And for account number A102, the first transaction is showing as T05 and the last transaction is showing as T08. Now, why it is showing as multiple records? You can see for A101, it is showing 4 records which are all same, and in A102 also it is showing 4 records which are all same. The reason is in partition by, I mentioned as account number. So whatever column you mention in partition by, it checks how many records you have for that particular data. Now in account number column, we have two accounts. One is A101 and A102. And in A101, I have 4 records, and in A102, I have 4 records. So for that reason, it is showing 4 records each in A101 and A102. So it all depends on what you mention in partition by. So it checks which column is mentioned in partition by. Then depending upon the number of unique values you have, so for each unique value, it will show me those many records as present in your existing table. So here in A101, you had 4 records, so it is showing as 4 times. In A102, it has 4 records in the existing table, so it is showing as 4 times. Now to show or not to avoid repetition, what we can do is we can use distinct keyword so that it will show only 2 records, one for A101 and the second one for A102. So this is what the output we expected. So in this way, we can solve this particular question. So that's it from this video. Thanks everyone.